Yeah, it's a wild time to be in LA during that time, but we're live now. So, Maria,
Oh, cool.
um, welcome to the Stand Up Speakeasy. My name's Sarathni, and every episode, I bring on a comic from coast to coast to be my guest. And this week, I'm bringing Maria Fetterhoff. How are you, pal?
Hi, thank you guys. It's good to be here.
Indeed, before we got online, we were talking about living in the valley in San Fernando Valley in California. So yeah,
It's my
I live
home.
in Sherman Oaks. Yeah. And so yeah, we were talking yesterday and how like you were lived in born and raised in North Hollywood.
Yep, North Hollywood. Yep, my
Yeah.
whole childhood.
Awesome. What was it like growing up out there?
It was kind of crazy. I feel like it builds like a lot of character. It builds a lot of strong kids. Like you are gonna grow up quickly. You are gonna be given a lot of responsibilities early. I feel like I mean, and it's a generational thing too because I'm 45, so I'm like Gen X on the cusp of Gen X. I feel like kids were really feral back then, and sometimes I think about it and I'm like, I just can't believe that our parents let us do so much stuff. Like just taking the bus to school and back every single day, like a public bus as a kid. That's crazy.
I'd
Like, I don't
say
know. Like, I did a lot of stuff I would never let my kid do.
for sure. Yeah, I'm 42, so I don't know whether I'm like Gen X, millennial. I don't even know
You're
anymore.
like you're a cusper, I think.
I think so
We'll
too.
count you. We'll count you either party, whichever one you fit into.
Sounds
I
good. I
think your com
reckon.
your comedy tells a lot about which one you are.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that we got to share the stage together, like at the open mic, I believe, and at Thick Skin.
Yeah, that thick skin was crazy. That was so fun. I've
Yeah,
never
there's
done a show like that before. It was like a bucket pool.
yep, so many
Yeah,
people. It was wild.
dude, it was like full audience. That was crazy,
Yep, and they were
but
so
fun.
respectful. Yeah,
Made for the crazy energy though. It was really cool.
yeah. And I was telling Movita, or is it Movita or Movida?
Vida, Vida.
Vita, I thought so, because like someone said Movida, and I'm like, who's Movida? I don't even know. I know Movita, but
It sounds like a
uh,
vitamin. It sounds like a supplement.
yeah.
Like, pretty sure that's not her name.
She was like, I know I only went on stage for like 2 minutes and 18 seconds because I counted. I watched the video back.
You
Eh,
too. Oh god. Okay.
Yep. And I'm like, she goes, it's better to get like kill for like that sort of amount of time than like, go off on like a horrible joke with like 1 minute
Yeah.
left. And I'm
Or
like,
say
okay,
lots of ums and ums and ums because sometimes you just go blank up there and people
yeah,
don't know. You don't know how hard it is. Like public speaking is hard anyway, but when you're on the fly, just like surprise, you're up next. You're like, oh, even though
right.
you can be very prepared, it still feels like you're not ready. You know?
And I'm like waddling that long hallway before you turn to go on stage, and I'm like
I
out of
know.
breath, the altitude. I was like,
I was so
I
out of
don't even
breath
know where
too.
I'm at.
I know I have asthma, so even going up there for like a second, I'm like wheezy, and I can tell because it's louder in the microphone. Makes it so much worse because everyone's just watching you. Like, is she gonna stroke out up there?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and Mike Stanley and Matt Kobos are just so awesome. And like,
They're funny.
yep, I think it's like my second time seeing Mike Stanley. He did Side Splitters in Wesley Chapel. It's like in a movie theater in Florida,
Oh
and
wow, okay.
it was that place is wild because like the laughs just are just not as cool because like the ceilings like
Really high.
stadium seating.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And then I finally got to meet Matt after talking, like emailing him and stuff. And I was trying to get him on Surreth Fest a while ago, and Mike too. But I found out Mike lives in like Detroit. And I was like, I
Oh
can't afford
dang.
all your travel and stuff. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it local.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I feel like
Yeah,
Matt Kobos and I look alike sometimes.
right.
We both have the eyebrow and the
Yep,
mustache.
yep. You guys trade which
He looks like me the morning before the wax appointment. You know? I was like, why are you my doppelganger? I hate you.
Yeah, he's so cool and kind. Yep, I was gonna interview him too, but like he was sick, and I'm like, I hope I don't get sick because I got like this thing to, I don't know.
Mm,
Yep, I was worried about that, but I'm like, oh, I'm glad that I didn't get sick, so it's good.
yeah, good. Stay healthy. Gotta do it.
Hmm. For sure. And so let's see here. So you grew up in North Hollywood, and I told you like when we talked at the bar at Looney's. Shout out to Looney's that I worked on at one of my jobs out there was AT&T off the corner of Lankershim and Laurel Canyon.
Yeah, that's so
Yep.
crazy. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
local for me. That's wild. Like Lincolnshire and Magnolia is pretty much like the intersection of where I grew up. Like
Oh, wow.
between, I would say, Lincolnshire and Burbank, like between Burbank and Vineland, you know, where the Circus Liquor, did you ever remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was
And
my
there's like
whole neighborhood right there. I
awesome. And there was like a
remember
gas
buying
station
kegs for
across.
parties there. I'm like, oh my God. I'm actually
Yeah.
stoked that it's still there.
Yeah. Like it's just, yeah, it's like I could see the clown and everything, like that big old clown on that sign.
Yep, yep,
Yep.
it's still there. I think there's a Fat Burger across the street too.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wild
Which there used
times.
to be a donut shop when I was a little kid. The Fat
Ah.
Burger used to be
Hmm.
a donut shop, and so my brother and I would go there on Sundays and get donuts, and we'd play Street Fighter with the change, the leftover change, and he'd beat me every time.
Heck yeah. Who's your character?
The girls, of course,
Oh,
Chun Li.
Chun-Li. Yeah, oh, yeah. With the kicks.
Yeah, but he'd always cheat. I feel like he was cheating. He just faster.
Yep. I feel
Mm.
like if you look like them, you're more likely to be them. And I'm like, I was Blanca.
I don't remember who my brother was. I cannot, for the life of me, remember. Oh well. I think
Oh,
everybody played Street Fighter as a kid, or you should.
indeed. Yeah,
Mm.
I miss those things and how you beat up the cars and beat up the barrels and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Those were the days,
those were the days. Yeah, when it was just a quarter to play.
right? And that's why I play Cubert now. It's like pop in a quarter and just play.
That's so fun. Where did you
Mhm.
get like? How did you get this whole Qbert obsession? You wanted to play in every state? You're saying?
Yeah, I played it on my old NES, and I'm like, I was so frustrated because like the D-pad, was just like weird. And then like at the time, I had a best friend, and we played it on his PlayStation 3, and I kept on getting all the high scores. I'm like, maybe this is my destiny. And it was like I was born in '82, so the game was made in '82. And then I'm like, I
Oh.
wonder if I can just go to different cities and just knock out the high scores. And so I didn't get a photo of the one at the one up at the Lodo. So I totally forgot. Like it was years ago. And then Chicago, like at the Sparkade years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just start like I'm just video recording my game sessions and taking a picture of all like the high scores that I do
That's
now. So
cool.
but yeah, so
You're like
yeah.
diabolical. You're like crushing everybody.
Indeed.
That's awesome.
I used to have like my standards super high, like get the high score, but now I just want the top 10 at least, because like some people are just so crazy on that game.
You'll be obsessed. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
So I'm like,
Maybe that's where you're gonna meet like your rival.
oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Then you have
I'll
to
be
like
like,
battle the ultimate boss,
yeah,
the Cuber.
and
Ooh, you
cuss
should
at
get a
each other.
tattoo of Cuber.
Ooh, I'll come to you as soon as I
There
get the
you go.
courage to get.
When you've completed your Cuber journey, then
Yeah,
you can have the tattoo, the Cuber
I've,
tattoo.
we'll have the characters, and we'll make the U.S. like a pyramid, like this the game and everything. Yeah. And speaking of tattoos, you're a tattoo artist. How long have you
I
been a
am.
tattoo artist?
I've been a tattoo artist since 1999, so 26 years, which feels really crazy to me because it doesn't feel like you could do anything for that long. You know what I mean? Like unless you're an old person, you know what I mean? When you think of like I used to think of somebody that did one job for 30 years, like, oh my God, like a cubicle or something, somebody, an old person. I'm like, I would never do the same job for that long, and of course I have now, so it's weird. But it's cool. I mean, it makes you feel old when you tattoo like your clients' children are now turning 18 and they're like of age, and that makes you feel old because you're like, man, I remember when you were just a baby, like you're like, ugh, and now you're old enough to get a tattoo. That makes me 100. Like I'm officially 100 years old.
That's so
But
awesome.
it's been a fun. I mean, it's definitely been a fun job to have.
Awesome. And did you start in California or here?
I got my apprenticeship there in California, and it's called like Tahunga. It's like a town that's north of us, north of the valley, I guess. Um, yeah, I started out. I went with a friend of mine to get her first tattoo, and I was still 17, so I couldn't get one. Plus, I didn't really think about getting a tattoo because they were expensive, and I was so poor. Like, I grew up very, very poor. So I just had no desire, no thought. And then I saw what he was doing, and I thought, I could learn how to do that. Like I graduated from an arts high school, and so I've been drawing obviously my whole life, and I was just like, dude, this guy doesn't even know how to draw, really. He's just like this old biker dude. No disrespect to old biker dudes, but he didn't seem very artistic to me. He didn't really take the job in that direction, and which is very generational with tattooing anyway. You know, that's kind of where it all began, and the history of tattooing is kind of, you know, has a lot of phases. And, you know, I think when I got into it, there was a lot of people that were art students that were beginning to tattoo and really change not just the demographic of people getting tattooed, but really change the imagery that people were getting tattooed. A lot more people started to get more abstract images, you know, things that were not as traditional as, you know, not just getting hearts and daggers and things like that. People were really pushing that. Um, and I think that's what really made me look at it in a different way. I was like, I bet if I learned that tool, I bet if I learned how to do that, I could do that, you know? I don't know. So I started bugging the dude and kind of harassing him until he agreed to teach me how to tattoo. Which, ironically, when I moved to Colorado, I got a job out here, and this guy that I worked with was like, "You tattoo like an old biker. Who taught you how to tattoo like some old biker dude?" I'm like, "Yes, that's exactly right." So I had to like relearn how to tattoo in a more modern way, more modern style, different needle groupings, things like that, which was, you know, literally had to throw out everything I thought I knew and start completely over. So it was worth it, obviously.
Yep, indeed. And where did you start off in Colorado?
It was at a little shop called Twin Beta Tattoo in Colorado Springs. It's not around anymore, but I worked there and made some good friends there that I'm still friends with now. So it's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. And where are you at now?
I own my own shop now. It's called Glory Badges Tattoo, and it's on Platt. It's at 317 East Platt. So I'm still downtown, but I'm kind of more central, I guess.
Awesome.
I'm across from a
So,
high school, so people like, make fun of me about that. Like, oh, you got a constant stream of like new clients. You know, every graduating class turns 18.
yeah.
Like that wasn't the point of the location. Just we have parking, and mostly downtown, it's very hard to find parking. So,
Oh, for sure. Like when Charlie Mullen and I went on tour, it was like parallel parking all the time, and like you got to pay sometimes, and you got
oh
to read the
yeah, for sure.
meters properly. It's like, I went to
Yeah,
Manitou Springs just to play, video games, Cubert, and it was like $3. I'm like, gosh dang it! But
you're like that's my budget, my Cubert budget.
it was. So I spent $3 on parking and $2 on Qbert, and I got the high
Oh
score.
man. Yeah, parking in Manitou can be really tricky.
Yep. So I'm not going there anymore. I'll just go to like a
I
place with
think
free
parking
parking.
signs are always so funny because you could be a totally coherent, intelligent human being and try to read a parking sign and you still feel like you don't understand because it's like parking Monday through Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. only. But then if it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can't park there from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you're like, wait, what? You're like, why is it so complicated? Can I park here or not? You know, that's what we need AI for,
Oh yeah,
is to
and
limit
street
stuff.
sweeping at from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and
Yes.
gosh,
Yeah,
and
and
I'm
that's an
getting
LA thing. If you're on the
yeah.
wrong side of the street, you're screwed. You need to, yeah, I remember so many times getting up for school and everybody's like in their night clothes, like running out to move their car last minute because they forgot or whatever. It's so funny. It's such an LA thing.
Oh yeah, and those gave me all these flashbacks on like the Sunset Strip, like all those parking
Oh,
signs and rules.
yeah,
Uh,
as anywhere near Melrose, anywhere near Hollywood, because it's kind of residential in that area, and you're like, I have no idea. If you see a row of cars, you're like, I'll risk it, maybe. I don't know. It's so dicey.
oh yeah, and parking's like $20 every single time if you want to park in a safe area. It's like
I know sometimes it's worth it, especially for like a concert.
yeah.
Ugh,
That's what
yeah.
I was. I was a concert journalist at nighttime, so I had to pay like all the parking fees. Yep.
Yeah.
I was
Good
pretty much
God.
living on the Sunset Strip, pretty much.
Just
So
always up and down that strip. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We used to go to a lot of punk shows in Hollywood when we were teenagers. And I think that's the most fun part about, like, I'm so grateful that I grew up there. But I'm glad I left when I did. I think it was a good opportunity for me to come to Colorado and just kind of like live this whole new life and like Um, but I'm really glad that I had that Hollywood childhood, like where you just, it's just kind of wild, and we saw like three bands a week. That was when punk shows were $5, you know what I mean? Or sometimes they were free. You could just show up.
Heck yeah. What are some of your favorite punk bands you saw in favorite venues out there?
Probably like Agent Orange, things like that. I loved those like grungy old bands like that. And I guess they're not technically grunge, but they're punk. But there was all these like bands in my neighborhood too, like just little bands that nobody ever heard of. You know what I mean? Like Naked Aggression was one that was in our neighborhood, and I always felt like they were such a fun, cool band, and it was just kind of neat to see like people that you kind of grew up around, like make records, and press records and sell them at their shows and make merch, and I don't know, I just think that was really cool. We loved going to see the
I
Vandals, of
agree.
course. That was one of our favorites, the Roxy or wherever.
Oh, the Roxy. Have you ever been upstairs at the On the Rocks?
No, is that you
Oh,
highly
it's
recommend?
awesome. Yeah, it's like
Mm.
a secret, like the doorway to it is like unnoticeable. Like it's like right next to like right close to
Hmm.
the rainbow, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
And you just walk
Mm-hmm.
up the stairs, and then it's like a small concert venue. It would be super dope
Oh
for
wow.
comedy shows too.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I think
Yeah.
small room is more fun for comedy. I don't
Oh,
know how
for sure.
like I've never been to like an arena comedy show. I don't know if I would want to go. Maybe.
I don't recommend it. I went and saw Chappelle at the Amway in Orlando, and I was like at the very nosebleed, very, very nosebleed.
Oh, then did
And
it
all
did
like,
it ruin it?
yeah, I just saw the screen.
Hmm. I was
Because
actually really lucky enough to see Chappelle at the Pikes Peak Center, and that's
oh,
why I went. I was like, "Oh, that's a tiny theater. That's going to be awesome." And I just thought it was so funny. He like smoked cigarettes the entire time on stage, and I could swear at one point he like put a cigarette out on the floor, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
he
But I was
has the
like, "Well, it's Dave
money,
Chappelle. He could pay for a whole new wood floor if they needed to." I guess that's the privilege being rich and famous.
right? And
Mm.
I want to go to his club so bad in Yellow Springs, and
I know, what a random thing that he like lives sort of in this Midwest place. But I think that's kind of the dream, right? To live like in a peaceful place, because every time you go to a show and you're a comic, or I mean, I'm a baby comic, but when you go to all these big cities and there's like all this noise and all this like chaos, you just go back home and it's chill and quiet. So I feel like that's kind of everybody's dream, maybe, for retiring.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't I that's what I like. That's what I noticed about like living in LA. Like those little pockets like North Hollywood and Sherman Oaks are so nice and calm. And then
Well, yeah.
depends on which part of North Hollywood and Sherman Oaks you live
Yeah, I was
in.
like, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I remember taking an Uber or something. I flew into like the Burbank airport because it's way smaller, and I'm taking an Uber, and I'm like, I don't think I would live here if someone gave me a house here. I don't think I'd want to. And they're $1 million shacks in the ghetto. I'm like, that's just wild to me that the prices have inflated to that is just insane. Like when you think about the work and dedication and what it would take to own $1 million property, and then you get to be there, it would be like such a kick in the teeth, like, oh, you've worked your whole life and saved up all this money just to buy scraps. Like it's just weird. um and parts of LA are beautiful, they're amazing. I mean, and the culture in LA to me is something I miss a lot. The food is amazing, obviously, entertainment's amazing. But yeah, I think like owning a home there is just crazy. You can't insure it.
Oh,
You
that's
can't you
true.
can't afford to even insure it. It's crazy. So to me, that's kind of, I love to visit. I love to visit and come back to Colorado. That This is my peace and quiet. I don't think of Sherman Oaks as peace and quiet.
Indeed. Well, that's true. I had a really noisy neighbor, and oh, it's like the worst. Like
Yeah.
his mom-in-law owned the whole place, like a
Oh yeah.
fourplex, and so he would
Uh-huh.
just play his music so loud and just be so mean
He's
because
like,
he
I'm
didn't
not
have to pay rent.
convicted.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm getting out of here. So I only last
Yeah.
like 2, 3 years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
My uncle used to live in La Crescenta. I used to think that place was nice.
Oh,
kind of up in the hills. It's pretty. It's chill, quiet.
that's pretty nice. Living in the
Mm,
hills is pretty nice. My
mm,
internship, apprentice slash apprenticeship, was like up in Beverly Hills, like in gosh, what are those mountains called? Like when you go up Laurel Canyon and like Coldwater
mm.
Canyon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's yeah, just Laurel or Mulholland or whatever.
Hmm. Good times,
It's
good
pretty up
times.
there. Yeah, I mean, if you had money, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to live there. Like you said, like there's no insurance on the houses. Florida doesn't even have insurance on the houses. I'm
I
like,
know every bit. It's just natural disasters everywhere.
it's like why
I
bother?
know.
I'm like, I want to move
Yeah,
back
I know. You just yeah, just live in a van, live in a tiny house.
for
You have
sure.
to live in a van because you have to evade the hurricanes, the
Yep.
earthquake, the fire, the flood. Everywhere is something horrible.
I have like a little cross track, a Subaru cross track, so I'm like, I'm good for like whatever.
There,
So
yeah, there you go. I think you should make your own video game of a little cross track, avoiding all the crazy natural disasters in America. It's
like
like
all
we're
the
living in like a Jumanji.
oh man, that's wild times.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And yeah, so we talked about your living in North Hollywood and being a
Mhm.
tattoo artist. And what are your favorite what's your favorite tattoo you have at the moment, and what's your favorite tattoo you put on someone?
Mm. Well, I've done thousands of tattoos, so to pick a favorite would be really hard. I do have like current projects that I'm working on that I get really excited about. Like I just finished a big blue tiger on one of my clients' like torsos, like on the front of his stomach, and that turned out so cool. Like we just loved it. I think when you and your client like have the same vision, you know, you get a lot of creative freedom from that person. I think things turn out really well. But just making he has like a big orange octopus on his back, so I didn't want to make an orange tiger because that's just a lot of orange for one human being. So I just decided like why not make it blue, you know, and it turned out so well. And so that one's my maybe my current project that's my favorite right now. But there's so many. Like I draw a lot for different people. Um, my favorite tattoo that I have now currently is probably my swan. I have a big black swan that kind of turns into calla lilies going down my leg, just because it's like the biggest and my newest. Um, yeah, it goes from my right hip all the way down almost to my ankle, my right leg. So it's pretty big. It's almost my entire leg. So I just got obsessed. Like in quarantine, I kind of got obsessed with painting black swans and like the whole idea of a black swan. Um, and I started to wonder like, what's the big deal about that? So I looked up like the meaning of the term black swan was, it's typically used when people talk about like the stock market or something, but it's like a catastrophic event that's like unforeseen, you know, this crazy thing. So to me, it just felt like my life in that moment, you know what I mean? Like all this kind of catastrophe and but a black swan is obviously something that's so beautiful. It's this big, powerful bird, you know. And they're kind of creepy looking. If you've seen one, they have like a big red beak and red eyes. So to me, that's like I don't know. It's like a an anti-hero in a way, right? Because you're like you have this white swan that's really elegant and pretty, and then you have the black version, which has got like rage in his eyes or something. I just think having red eyes as an animal is creepy and kind of cool, but I think that's what makes it neat is that it can be so beautiful and a little bit creepy at the same time. So I was really into that during quarantine. I was kind of like rubbing my temples, like, am I going to be allowed to tattoo again? You know, it was kind of a stressful time. So I'm a workaholic. So I just put all that stress into working. And I just painted and painted and painted and painted for like that whole time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And have you
And
seen the movie Black Swan?
I actually have. I've seen it well after I got the tattoo because I just never watched it, you know. But yeah, it's interesting. It's got some creepy parts to it too, but it's pretty interesting. It's like this rivalry between these two girls. I don't know. What did you think about the movie?
It like took me back to like Suspiria, kinda,
Mm,
like all the dancing and everything. And like I love Darren Aronofsky movies. They're just so wild and out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
Requiem for a Dream made me not want to do drugs ever. Like, and I watched it when I was like a young
Oh,
and
dude, them. I think that movie has collectively traumatized like the nation. I think. I think that's probably top three. If you ask just anybody in a forum, like, what movie will you never watch again? And everyone just says Requiem for a Dream. It's like, ooh,
Yep.
yeah.
And I like my friend showed me like the director's cut, and then like I went and checked it out at the library, and they removed all of the bad scenes because there was like no director's cut. So I'm like, maybe
Oh,
I'm glad I watched the director's cut first. So,
before, yeah. Was it like just a censored version, or it was because they had it at the library? Oh, because it's
yeah.
like for that's crazy, especially with the internet now. You can probably find anything on the internet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they took out all the graphic scenes. You know the ones.
The traumatizing parts, yeah, they're
Yeah.
just cut to the credits because it's the
It's like it reminds me of like watching The Sopranos skit on Mad TV or sketch, and they took out all the bad words, and like it's the most
yeah.
funniest sketch ever.
Oh my God, I gotta look that up because that sounds funny. Yeah, it's like you can't watch a monster movie and bleep everything out. It's just beep 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 beep. Sounds like Morse code.
Yeah, it's like so much bad editing that it cracks you up. Like,
I liked Sopranos as a show. It kind of got some weird parts throughout. I think sometimes people just want a series to keep going so they can keep getting paid, but you're like, I think we're all confused now. I think when he started having like too much therapy, too many dreams, the ducks in the pool or whatever, I don't know. I
I
was like, you're
haven't
losing me.
I haven't seen it. I need to. They say it's the best show that was ever made. Or
Sopranos, really? I mean, it's worth watching for sure. It does get weird, like I said, but
I'm in the process of watching Titus at the moment. It's on his YouTube channel, Christopher Titus. So
yeah, yeah. He's
it's so
funny.
it's so good. And there was like callbacks to like previous episodes back in like way early in the first season. I'm like, oh, this is really good storytelling and like comedy. So like
Yeah, you're
as a
assuming
comic
that everybody's
perspective.
really kind of hanging on the next episode. And
Mhm.
was that filmed when like people still were waiting for episodes to come out once a week, and now you can just binge it, which is so different, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember being a kid and waiting, that show comes on like Thursday night or whatever, and now you can just pull it up and binge the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm addicted. I'm watching 3 episodes a day, and it's like only an hour for each time, so it's like
Oh,
22 minutes. And I watch it on DuckDuckGo because then when you watch it on DuckDuckGo, it takes out all the YouTube ads. So
oh,
thank God.
nice.
Yes, nice.
Okay, I will remember that. Duck, duck, go. Smart.
Yeah,
Okay.
indeed.
I don't have an
Well,
attention span to watch a lot of stuff. Hang on one second. What? Love you. Sorry.
all good. I heard like the happy feet. Do you have a dog or a cat or
I
something?
do have a dog, yeah.
Awesome.
Her name's Rosie.
Good stuff.
She's a cutie
Shout,
pie. She's 5.
awesome. Shout out to
We got her as
Rosie.
a grown up. Sorry, what'd you say?
Shout out to Rosie.
Shout out to I know she's sitting right here by me. She was like pawing at the door. Sometimes she likes going out on the balcony for some reason, and there's nothing really there, but she just likes being outside, getting the sunshine.
Cool.
Hopefully, no hail today.
Yeah, crossing fingers. Yep. On the
Yeah.
last day of the fest, it's supposed to rain, so I'm like, I guess I gotta move everything, like, because the bands are we were gonna
Oh,
play outside, and
yeah,
it's gonna rain for most of their set, so we're gonna move everything inside.
yeah,
Yep.
smart. And you never know this time of year too. I mean, I sometimes like think, how do people plan any event, especially like a wedding or something? It's gonna rain, like
Yeah.
just give everybody a poncho or something.
And like Bonnaroo was like ran into that same thing, and they canceled all like
Oh,
the whole thing and gave everyone 100% of their refund.
oh, that would suck.
Yep, I'm like, and now I learned my lesson because I used to rent it over at the Grindhouse Cafe or out in Pueblo on and
Mm,
rained out on, and it was super hot sometimes when it wasn't raining. I'm like, I'm gonna have a plan B and have
yeah,
this here too. So
yeah, you gotta have a plan B. Pueblo always is pretty hot in the summer, man. I
yeah,
mean, it's cool because I feel like I like the desert and it's beautiful, but God, it can get so hot.
indeed,
Crazy.
dry air. I'm like, take me back to Florida. I miss the humidity already. It's so
I
weird to
need to go
say.
to Florida. I have so many friends and family that live there now, and I have no excuse to not visit, and I've not been. I've
Yeah.
never been to Florida.
And I'll get you connected to all the comedy scenes too, because I know pretty much everybody. So
Oh,
if
that'd be cool. Heck yeah. I think that'd be really fun.
Ratatouille or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Awesome. So Maria, we're like halfway through the hour. So this next part is pretty much the questions I ask everyone that I've ever
Okay,
interviewed. So with that
sure.
being said, what inspired you to perform stand-up comedy?
Oh, that's kind of a tough question. I've always had people say to me like, "Oh, you're funny. You should do stand up, whatever." Like just my friends, my close friends. Just because I deal with a lot of stuff. I deal with things by making a joke out of it. Like if it's ever uncomfortable, I'll make a joke. I mean, appropriate or not, you know. And working the tattoo shop, I've always kind of um, broke the ice with jokes and humor. You know what I mean? Because when you meet somebody and you have no idea who they are and you're trying to get them to be comfortable with you and in a very vulnerable situation where they're either like taking a piece of their clothes off or whatever. I mean, it's a intimate kind of situation. But I just went through a lot of hard things all at once. It was went through a really bad divorce. I had a big falling out with my stepdaughter, who I was very close with, and my dad passed away, kind of all like um, one after the other. And I was just like kind of in this bad place, and I was like, I need to lighten up. I need some levity. I need something to like bring me. I can't. I'm not gonna be the crying girl for the rest of my life, and I still have a long life to live, and I still matter as well. Like I still have my life, you know. So it's kind of just taking a little bit of power back, I guess, for myself. And it's funny, I ended up going on a Bumble date with somebody randomly who also was a comic stand or a open mic comic here in Springs. And he's like, "You are funny. You should try an open mic." And I was like, "Well, I don't know what that means. I've never even heard of what an open mic was." So I was like, "Oh, maybe, sure." And one day I was just walking down Tejon Street in Colorado Springs, and there was a poster in the window that said something about Oscar Blues comedy open mic, and I was like, "Oh, I should go." So I just started to go and watch all these open mics. I watched for almost like a year, just so I could familiarize myself with what was expected and like what happened during an open mic. So I just decided I'm gonna write 5 minutes, and it's like a bucket list thing. I'm just gonna go up and do it. And it just ended up working out really well, and I got some really good feedback about my writing. And obviously, I'm nervous and new, and I don't know what I'm doing on stage. And I talk really fast when I'm nervous, so part of my notes from comics is slow down.
Yep.
So that's my still have that problem. I feel like.
So I send my condolences to your pops and
Oh,
to you
thank
and
you. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty elderly. He's 89, so
wow,
yeah.
that's
I
a
know I'm
beautiful
like the
life.
youngest of six on my dad's side, so my dad was like actually old enough to be my grandpa. So it was a very unique thing, and I don't know, I feel like that's part of growing up a little bit different is having like elderly parents, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like all my friends' parents are way younger, and it's just kind of funny, like it's a unique thing, but
indeed. I was watching an interview with someone, but and he said he didn't become a parent until he was like 44.
yeah, yeah, my dad was like 50 when I was born. Yeah,
Dang.
I mean, I definitely was like a oops, whoops, you know. So yeah,
That's awesome. Yep, and yeah, and it's true what they say about comedy. It's like tragedy plus time equals comedy.
yeah.
And
Well, yeah, and you have to. I mean, we have to lighten up. It's like yeah. I think it's a big part of therapy, and releasing those emotions and any resentments. And I mean, you have such a long life to live to carry grief and pain forever. It's just you just have to make friends with it. You can't like put it down. It doesn't like just go away, but you just have to know it's there. And you give it a little pet sometimes, and then but you gotta move on with your life after a while. It's different for every person, obviously, but
that's for sure. And
mm,
comedy's gotten me through a lot of like heartbreaks
yeah,
and no matter what it was, and I'm like, it treated me well. So it's and you're young in the game, and I'm like 12 years in, and I'm like, it's there's gonna be some highs and lows,
yeah,
a lot of unpaid gigs
oh
and
yeah.
shaky promoters.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure. I mean, that's definitely a lot. I mean, I think being an artist and being a painter as well, I kind of understand that part of it, the part of the art that is that producing and the shows is probably a very difficult thing to do. But yeah, I mean, working for nothing, it gets old.
Yeah.
You know, I'm lucky enough that tattooing does pay me, so I do have my bills paid doing my job. Thank God.
20
Yeah,
plus years, so that's awesome.
dude, it's crazy. I'm old. I need to retire.
Indeed, almost 30 actually, so that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it feeling like when you first performed stand up?
Like really exhilarating. I felt like I was terrified to go up on stage, of course. I still get a little bit, you can feel it like in your belly, you know what I mean? You feel that butterfly. But I feel like when it was happening, it was amazing. And I feel like that's the thing that gets you hooked in, you know, because you really feel almost like in command for 5 minutes because you're sort of commanding this big audience and it, you know, and you just get a roar of laughter and you just want that again and again and again, obviously. But
It's
yeah,
like
it's
someone that
super
gets their
fun.
first tattoo and then go want more and more and more. It's so
Well,
addicting.
they could be terrified, and as soon as that, you know, before we're even done, they're planning their second one.
Yeah.
It happens every time.
Gosh, now I gotta get that Cuba tattoo from you.
You do. That would be so fun.
Awesome. And
We
let's see
gotta
here.
plan this out.
Yeah. I gotta muster up the courage now. But
We can just use Sharpies for the first one if you want less
oh, thank
commitment.
yes, yes. We'll just take a picture that's permanent.
Just post it and tell everyone it's real. No one will know.
Nope, no,
What are they gonna
no.
say? Prove it.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait. Well, I don't have tattoos, not yet, anyways. But in time, I think when I'm in my midlife crisis, I don't know when that's supposed to
Absolutely.
be, but I'm like, whenever that is,
I
because I
know.
feel
I think everyone has a different idea of what midlife is. I think I'm right there. Like if I live as long as my dad, I am at my midlife right now.
wow.
Yeah, so maybe comedy is my midlife crisis. I'm sure there's people that look at me like I'm insane. Like, what are you doing? I think there's plenty of people that are like, look at this fucking annoying girl going on. Like, she wants everybody to listen to me, watch what I can do, you know? And I'm old, way older than most of the open mic people that I hang out. Like, you know, when you go to an open mic, everyone there is really young.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God, they're probably like, this old lady is crazy. I swear I'm not court ordered to be here. It's just, sometimes it starts to bother me. Like I'm really crazy doing this brand new at 45. Like I'm crazy, but what are you gonna
But
do?
you
I
have a lot of
can't.
stories at your age, so that's great.
Yeah, I have stories. I have maybe a little maturity too. I'm not gonna lose my mind. I'm not gonna start doing drugs or some crazy thing at this old age. I'm good on all that. My bills are paid. I'm not, you know what I mean? I think this is a pretty safe midlife crisis for me if that's all it's gonna be, you know?
I'd say, yeah,
Yeah.
and like I look way younger and like than I am, and like and Heather Shaw, like when I saw her last night with you,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
said it, she like spotted me in the crowd. I'm like, Surratt, I'm
She
like,
did.
yeah.
That was funny.
It's like, how do you not age? I'm like, Asians don't raise them. I
That's
don't
right.
know.
I know I have a really close friend, my bestie from high school. She's Korean, and she says that all the time because she looks like she's 30. Like no one would ever know she's 46 years old ever.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yep, stay hydrated and don't do those Requiem for a Dream drugs, and you'll be
No, good.
fine.
Yeah. Just have the kimchi.
Yeah, the
Good for
kimchi.
your gut.
Fermented everything. Just go fermented
Yes. I
everything.
know. We used to actually tease her because in school her locker smelled like kimchi because her jacket smelled like kimchi. Oh my God. I think her first email that she ever got, but back in like the Yahoo days was like kimchi lover or something at Yahoo. Because we were like, dude. Oh, she's so funny.
Oh man, it's like from kimchi to from chunli to kimchi.
Chun-Li to kimchi. Yeah, that could be my new special.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever, dude, I don't eat Korean food here in the springs, but when I go back to LA, always Korean barbecue.
Oh, for real.
Oh yeah, they
Like
have
I went
such
with they
every
are
Asian food I feel like is better in Los Angeles. I
for
don't care.
real.
You can come for me, but hands down, way better.
Shout out to Koreatown and all my Korean friends out there. And
Oh
like,
yeah.
my cousin took me to one out there, a Korean barbecue place, and I'm like, "Do you really have to cook it yourself? I don't have the patience." He goes, "Just trust me on this." And
Yeah,
sure enough,
it's a whole situation. It's so good.
yep, so good.
Oh, I know. You're
Yeah,
like, I don't care that I'm cooking it myself. I know. I think it's so funny too. Like when I think I went to a fondue restaurant when I was younger, and I'm like, this is stale bread.
yep.
Tease. I'm doing it myself. It's $100. I was like, genius. Hats off to you. I was like,
Oh,
what?
good stuff. And there's like this Korean fried chicken like place in Daytona that I really want to try,
Ooh, that
and I've
sounds
never
good.
had it. I've had Filipino fried chicken; they're pretty awesome at Jollibee's, but I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my coworker is in the Philippines right now, and he always talks about that place being so good.
Mm-hmm. Good times. And
Yeah.
so, what are your favorite comedy specials, comedy record albums, and comedy special podcasts?
Let's see. I would say probably Kathleen Madigan right now might be my favorite comedy special. Or it's probably not like a very new one, but I feel like she's so funny. I feel like her sarcasm is just so perfect. Her wit is she's just so good. I'm very into watching more female comedians right now, even if it's just a clip or two. I don't watch a lot of podcasts. I do like this. I get a lot of shit for this because I do actually listen to the Joe Rogan podcast sometimes because of his guests. His guests are crazy good, right?
Yep.
Especially if there's a comic on there because I know it's going to be really funny. Like I was just listening to coming back from Comedy Works, funny enough. I was listening to the one he did with Bert Kreischer recently. That was funny. I just like listening to like older comedians kind of talk about their journey in it because I'm already old and I'm brand new in the journey. So I kind of want to know like what does my future hold? If I, you know what I mean? It's a lot of grinding it out. It's a lot of struggle. There's no cheat code.
Nope.
The comedy, you just have to grind it out and take the opportunities where they come because you know you have to be wise enough to see the difference between like something that's a dead end and something that is a true opportunity. Um, so I think that's crazy, but yeah, I love like Michelle Wolf. I love Ali Wong. That's maybe Ali Wong, honestly. Like that might be one of my top favorites because she just is so fucking raw, and I feel like writing clean sells better, but she's so not clean in either of the specials. But like, um, God, it's so good. You know what I mean? And I feel like she's really kind of pushing the envelope with like what you're allowed to say or talk about. Being a woman, being a mom, being a pregnant woman on stage too. That was crazy. Um, and good for her for just being like, fuck you, I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm going to say whatever I'm going to fucking say. You don't have to like it, you know? But I love that so much because I feel like I write dirty mostly. But I think I really like the challenge now of being told, hey, write clean or clean that joke up, or that doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be filthy. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to be more clever to write it cleaner and you know, use innuendo a little bit more than just smacking somebody in the face with a foul word, you know. So but when people see me, I'm like 5'1", you know, and I'm like, hi, and then I just say filth and they're like, oh, you know? They're like, weren't really expecting that. So sometimes that's part of the fun is doing something that people don't expect you to do. But yeah, I love so many female comedians, and of course I love Dave's old stuff, Dave Chappelle, the goat, obviously, but um, yeah, he was one of my favorites. Anthony Jeselnik, we just saw. My boyfriend and I saw him live too at the Pikes Peak Center, or no, the that was up in Denver. I can't remember what the name of that place is. It's a little theater up in Denver, downtown Denver. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, that was a fun show too. But he's not one of my favorites. He's just one of my boyfriend's favorites.
Heck yeah! Like I watched his Bones and All on Netflix. It was so good.
Yeah,
I
he's
loved
just
it.
got such a clean delivery.
Yeah,
Just to how he twists things, it's just crazy.
indeed. And like writing clean is such a challenge. Like I remember I did a black church once, and like I mentioned to you like at the Loonies that I'm like the cleanest, dirtiest comic
Yeah.
in Daytona Beach, and the
Uh-huh.
poet laureate of Pornhub, and
I
like
love I love
I'm like,
it.
why did you book me at a black church?
How did it
And
go?
like the lady that went before me was an Asian lady, and she said, the S word for poop, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta follow this. And so I remember watching Ricky Smiley on on Comic View, and to get everyone on board, he would say, "God is good all the time." They say it all the time, "God is good," and so like I remember that, and
Oh,
I'm like, I used that in the beginning, and I got him back on my side.
nice,
And then I
nice.
started at the end to do like a callback, and my friend that followed me, she was like, "Can I use that?" I'm like, "Yep, go for it," and it
Yeah,
worked
you're
like
like,
a
I'm
charm.
done. You're like, do with it what you will, girl. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
but all clean material in between. Like I just said, I look like a ninja turtle, and I was just going off.
That's
Good time.
cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And so like Ali Wong, she was like in one of my favorite shows called Beef. And so, what are your
Yeah.
favorite sitcoms, sketch shows, and comedy films?
Oh my gosh, comedy film, I have to say, would have to be Will Ferrell, like Talladega Nights, of course. So fucking funny. I'm like Anchorman. The first Anchorman to me, I feel like was like one of those iconic movies that every scene is insane and ridiculous and crazy. I think I screamed in the theater when he like drives the knife into his leg to get out the other knife. I literally screamed. I was just like, ah! Like it was so silly and so funny. Um, but when I was a little girl, I used to watch this I guess she's a comedic actress, but she plays the same like role, La India Maria, and she has a series of movies, and they're obviously in Spanish, but they're so funny. There's so much silliness in there, a lot of slapstick. She plays up being like this woman who's a Mexican woman, but she's like very rural. You know, she wears like the long dresses and her braids. And so she's kind of this country bumpkin and she goes to California. And it's like this weird little adventure that she has in California because she doesn't understand English. And it's just the silliest friggin' movies ever. And to like watch that as a little kid with my mom, I feel like that kind of influenced some of my, I guess, taste in humor is just like that really silliness of and like wordplay because especially speaking two languages in the movie there's both languages obviously being spoken so I don't know I feel like that's kind of such a weird and unique thing to do make a movie in Spanglish in a way it's obviously more geared towards native Spanish speakers but it's just such a funny movie and she's such a funny woman but as far as shows we were just talking at the tattoo shop about like Two Broke Girls and how underrated that show is the writing is so funny and the cast is like just crazy silly, you know. Of course, my childhood watching The Simpsons was great as a little kid. I mean, I literally grew up with The Simpsons, being as old as I am. Like, I think The Simpsons started when I was like a sixth grader. You know what I mean? So sometimes you don't have to intellectualize humor for it to be funny. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think people can overthink something, and you don't have to do that to be funny. You know, and not that I don't appreciate obviously intellectual humor, but sometimes I feel like because I grew up a poor kid in the hood, I feel a little chip on my shoulder sometimes about people trying to make you feel like you're not smart because you don't have a degree or you don't have, you know, I'm like, all right, okay. You know what I mean? It's like you can have your degree, I'll be funny. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
I feel like, I don't know, sometimes you just don't have to think that hard about it.
Right. Most definitely. And
Mm.
speaking of The Simpsons, like the Treehouse of Horrors always scares the crap out of me. And I'm like, I know it's just a cartoon, but it's so
It's so
scary.
scary. That's so funny. I used to do a Bart Simpson impression when I was a little kid. I'd wait for my brother to go into the bathroom, and then I'd be like, "All right," and I would like speak like Bart Simpson. He's like, "Go away."
Good times. And favorite
Yeah.
sketch shows?
Sorry, say that again.
Favorite sketch show or
Oh,
shows?
in Living Color.
Yep.
Kids in the Hall from being a kid, watching all that shit. And like, I'm a kid and I'm like watching Kids in the Hall. I have no idea what some of this stuff they're talking about is, you know what I mean? I just remember watching a sketch about the chicken lady, and she's on a date and this guy comes over to her house and she feeds him eggs. It's insanely ridiculous how he was like, wow, these eggs are fresh. And she's like, straight from my body. And she's like dressed like a chicken. And I'm like, what? Like, that was so mind-blowingly crazy to write it, act it out, film it, and then publicly like enjoy, you know what I mean? I was just like, this is crazy. uh but in Living Color, that was definitely a big part of my childhood too. Like, just all those shows were so silly. Like Homie the Clown, of course, is insanely silly. And just, it's funny that we saw Heather Shaw yesterday, because that's, Jim Carrey, of course, made so many good characters on that show.
Oh
Like the
yeah.
whole Fire Marshal Bill, and just insane, silly shit. And I think that's maybe something that it was nice to see her like get silly and really act out and get really physical with her comedy. Because I feel like when you can get there, you're really loose. You know what I mean? You're really kind of in the flow. So it's kind of nice. I like watching comedy at Looney's for that reason. I just think that people go up there and they just kind of get loose and have a good time, and I think that's really fun to watch that.
Most definitely.
Mm,
Yep. And like my favorite, and I wish I could be like Heather in that sense, because I'm more of a stand and deliver kind of comic.
yeah.
I'm like, you're just gonna see me stand here and say dirty jokes.
But I think that works for some people too, because you kind of have that like shyness, and it really draws people to wait. Because, sometimes when comedians are more quiet, the audience is also kind of just like suspended and waiting. You know what I mean? I feel like that can build a lot of tension. So when you finally do deliver that punchline, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Sometimes it can work for you, to be more shy and quiet.
Yep. I love when they sing the Beatles with me like all the time. It was like so grand, like the come together song, and they're like, "Oh, we're all in on this joke too." But yeah, I
That's fun.
love In Living Color, because like I remember watching like the Dozens, with Jamie Foxx and stuff, and that got me talking about people's moms in middle school, and I would have these mama battles, and people would
Oh yeah,
just surround me, and I'm like destroying like three people at the same time,
I love
because I
it.
remember I memorized those books. It was a
The Yo
wild
Mama
time.
jokes were so good back in the day. Oh my God. I feel like that also kind of influences people of our age group too, because when somebody says something, we're like, your mama, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the other day, I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, God, we should just go move to Mexico. We are so screwed, whatever. And he's like, he was talking about like the Gulf. I want to move to Florida. I want to live in Florida. We could be in the Gulf of America. I was like, you mean the Gulf of Mexico? And he said, no, the Gulf of America. I was like, the Gulf of your mama. Why does that still work every time?
Right.
I was
It's
like, your mom. I mean, it's just silly. It's just immature and dumb. And sometimes that's all it takes to break that uncomfortable whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. It still works to say your mama.
yeah. It never ends. It never fails. If you can go on tour with any comedian locally and internationally known, which comics would I go on tour with?
Oh my God. Probably Angela Johnson, maybe. She's fucking amazing.
Hmm.
She's clean, but
Yep.
she seems like such a wonderful person to know. Like, just watching her do her specials, watching her do just like her little videos that she posts. I'm like, she just seems like such a down to earth, cool person that would probably give you a ton of advice, just like openly. I think she would be super fun to tour with. I mean, I would have to write so much cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could handle it. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know who else I would want to go with. But yeah, I don't know. Everyone, anyone. Oh my God, I'm too much of a baby. I'm too young yet to really like be where I think I would want to fit in, because you can't have two filthy comics on one bill, right? Or can you? I don't know. Maybe I'd have to find someone even filthier than me, so I'm like the light, the appetizer before the whole. I don't know. That's a hard question. Gosh, that's a hard question.
And Angela Johnson is so awesome. Like I had my a mani and pedi yesterday because like my cousin's own a salon out here, a nail salon.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. And like we were talking, like I speak two languages. I speak Khmer, which is Cambodian's
Uh,
official language, and English. And like I was thinking the whole time, I was like, you have boyfriends, like.
it's true. It's such a funny thing. But I find it funny too that like she did that so long ago. Like if
Hmm.
you tried that skit now or that bit now, people would be like canceling you. They would be upset. But I feel like because for one, she was so young and it was such a long time ago, I think people they're more willing to just laugh at the fact that it is kind of such a relatable thing to be in a place where you don't understand what somebody's saying. And I swear that's happened to me before where I didn't even know what gel was and I was like, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I can't get it off and I had no idea that like I had to go back in for them to take it off. I was like, what am I gonna do? My nails are gonna be red forever. So I don't know. I just think it's such a relatable thing. Especially I'm Mexican. I speak two languages too. I speak Spanish and English, and I just think that's the funniest thing too. Is when people get so bent out of shape about somebody speaking only English, and you're like, I'm so used to it. I'm so in Los Angeles, everybody speaks a million languages.
Yep.
Your every little neighborhood has their own language or their own culture, their own food. Like I remember in middle school, we had a big influx of Armenian students. Um, I don't think there was like Armenian civil war, something that happened in the 90s, and we just got a bunch of brand new immigrants to our school. They didn't speak very good English, and we obviously didn't speak Armenian, so we're like getting used to listening to all these kids in the hallway talking a different language that nobody understood. You know what I mean? It's like we're used to hearing Spanish, English, or whatever, and maybe even some Asian languages there. But in my neighborhood, we were mostly Hispanic or white. And so yeah, I feel like you get over it, you get used to it. You're just like, oh, cool, more restaurants are going to open. Awesome, And
Yeah.
Armenian food is delicious. It's amazing. So
Shout out to Glendale.
hell yeah. My sister lives in Glendale. Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to Glendale.
And let's see here. If you can get roasted by five comics dead or alive, which comics would you like to get roasted by?
Probably like David Tell's a good guy, a good roaster. Dead or alive, probably uh, Greg Giraldo, obviously. Lisa Lampanelli, I would love. I mean, she's the queen of mean or whatever, as they say. Nikki Glazer, of course, would be just the obvious choice because she's such a great writer. I think she's a good writer. But oh yeah, maybe I could go on tour with her. She's not clean. She won't hate on me. And she's very pro woman, it feels like. I think more comics need. That's my biggest pet peeve ever in the whole world is when people are like, women aren't funny. I'm like, bitch, you're not funny. Part of my mouth, part of my filth. That I'm like, what? And no, I mean, I don't like that. I feel like it's really too much of it's just such a dumb blanket statement that comes out that you're like, you just sound so ignorant right now. So let's erase that stupid stereotype that women somehow aren't funny. I mean, I've had people say to me at a show, I get off stage and someone says, "Oh, I'm so glad you didn't go up there and just talk about your vagina the whole time." And I said, "Yeah, but you know what? Before I went up, how many dick jokes did we hear tonight?"
Right.
And they go, "Oh yeah, I guess you're right." I'm like, "See, they get a pass, and I don't get a pass. That's not good either." So I think I don't know. I feel like it's changing. I feel like there's a lot more women in comedy now. It's just funny because tattooing, there's not a lot of women in tattooing, and then I go into this new thing, and there's even less women in comedy than there are in tattooing. I'm like, why do I keep doing this to myself? It's just the arts. I mean, if I loved to cook and I was a chef, it'd be the same thing. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't know. I feel like we need to get rid of that stigma that like somehow we can't be on the same level. That's crazy.
For sure. We got 20 seconds left before there's
Oh,
an hour. So
oh okay.
we'll I know that, well, I'll respect your time and stuff, so we'll just
Oh,
fly
not at
through
all.
these.
No, I'm good. I'm good. We're good.
Okay, that's good. Sounds good. We only got a few left anyways. So,
Sure.
what's your favorite joke a comic has written?
Ooh. Oh. Oh God, I thought about it in the shower today and I can't remember. Oh, someone said you don't have sleep apnea, you have awake apnea. Oh my God. It was and it was a roast battle at Looney's, I want to say. It was some and we just all died, fell out of our chair. It was ridiculous to say like you make so much noise breathing while you're awake, you have awake apnea. Like, oh my fucking God. I was dying. That was isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
Oh my God, ridiculous. I was just dying. That is a joke that just popped into my brain this morning and I'm like, God, like it seems like such a and it's the simplest thing, right? No
Yep.
need to over intellectualize anything. You know exactly what sleep apnea is. Imagine awake apnea. It just blows your. I mean, it's just silly, and I can't even remember who fucking said it. If you
Yeah.
said it, please let me know. Oh my God, I just fucking dying. That was a good one. I was like,
That's awesome. And I used to sleep with this CPAP machine. And I'm like, this thing doesn't even work. I'm like, I just gave it back. Like, I feel bad for Joe Coy because he sleeps with a sleep apnea, and he talks a CPAP machine, so he talks about it all
yeah.
the time. I'm like, no wonder Chelsea left them or something. They broke up.
That's the least hot thing in the world, to be fair. You're like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
You're like already dead. You're just a Darth Vader. What is going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely have to have a girlfriend you don't live with if you have
Right.
a sleep apnea machine.
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm fine with that. And if pass in my sleep, I pass in my sleep. It's a perfect way to go out of
Just
here.
let me die. But you have to have like a do not resuscitate and then the mask that's even hotter, right? It's even more like appealing. You're like, ugh. You're like, at least if I leave in the middle of the night, he won't even know. He won't even notice I'm gone. He's already dead.
Awesome. Where do you see your comedy during the next 5 years?
I'm hoping that I am a successful feature comic at least. You know what I mean? I would love to have a good 45 minutes by that time, by 5 years, because I'm going to keep writing. I write all the time. I write all the time because I think too much. Like I'm thinking all the time. So whenever I think of something ridiculous, of course I will write it down and try to mess with it. I go to a lot of open mics and try things out. Because like I said, there's no cheat code. There's no cheat code at all. You have to put in the work and the time and just write and try to work it out. Be in front of a crowd as much as you can be. Actually, shout out to Louis Katz. He is a friend of mine and has given me really awesome advice, and he was really like, what are you doing? Because he's a successful comic and has been for so long now. And, there's no cheat code. You just got to grind it out. You got to write and you got to do it. He said at least 3 mics a week. So I've been doing that. And I promise I've been working hard, Louis. So, but yeah, I think that's it. Just write and do your diligence. I mean, it's tough, but you got to do it. I'm hoping to be a feature comic and I hope to be traveling. I think I would love to do that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
If you need a tour mate, like Charlie McMullen's like one of the best tour mates to have. And we did like a whole week together. And I'm like,
Nice.
what a wonderful dude to just chill with.
He's a good writer too, man. He works out a lot of new stuff too, and we're at a lot of open mics together, so it's kind of fun to see. Actually, I think, uh, yeah, I think we were on a show too. Oh, I roasted him, and I roasted John Brown when they did their roast at Looney's, which was so much fun.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I like the dark hour. I love all that stuff. I've done 10 minutes on the dark hour. It's literally kind of freeing when somebody says like, "Yeah, you can be as filthy as you want."
Yeah. Such a great show. It was so packed too. It was
It's fun.
awesome. Good
Yeah,
times.
I look forward to the dark hour shows for sure.
Indeed. And for a lot of the audience member to be like the first time there, the last time I went, like this past weekend or something,
Yeah,
was
where they like,
incredible.
what?
Yeah. And they're like, I guess we can say our old jokes. I'm like, yeah, John, go ahead, say your old jokes. But there was this couple that was like next to me that was so annoying. I was like, gosh, like she knows the answers, right? Like, why is she just like answering her own
Cringe.
questions. I know,
Yeah.
but you're at a comedy show. Chill out.
Yeah. I
Um,
like watching John Brown go up there. He's got so much energy, and then like he's just that big, loud guy, you know.
yeah,
It gets the crowd like, oh.
he's so good too. We started off together and well, I did an open mic in Studio City first, and then I came back to Pueblo, and then
Nice.
we just grew up together doing stand up. Like Wade Ridley, John, like Casey Dean Frace, and Dan Rainey and Charlie. We all grew up
Yeah,
together, like
that's cool.
Megan, all those folks, and it's just cool to see them come down in Colorado or Pueblo to do their stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was pretty hot for a little while, and then I moved to Florida. But
Yeah.
um,
I know.
man,
Sometimes I think about moving too, and then I'm like, oh, but I feel like I'll miss out on this, you know?
yeah, the fear of missing out for
I
sure.
know,
Yeah.
for sure.
And what experience would you like your audience to take with them after a set is over?
Oh gosh, I want them to feel like they can relate. I want them to feel like I made their day a little bit brighter or like gave them a different perspective maybe on something silly. I hope to inspire a little bit of silliness maybe because I feel like everybody is so uptight and everybody, we're so quick to anger. I feel like anger is such a knee jerk reaction kind of emotion when you are online all flippin' day. I mean, people literally are on their phones. You know, it's not just a doom scroll, it's kind of a depression scroll because you get people are really just so mad. I mean, you know, when somebody comes up to you and they want to explain why they're mad, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You know, and then in real life, it doesn't translate because you're like, I'm not picking up, I don't understand. Like, I'm mad at a whole group of people. And you're like, well, that's stupid. You know, you're wasting your time. So I feel like, yeah, put the phone down, have a laugh, chill the fuck out.
Yep.
You know, we're okay.
Indeed.
You know, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I hope that maybe they can like kind of forget their troubles for a little bit and just be silly and next time they're at work and they remember some dumb shit like awake apnea, you know.
Yeah.
God, and I don't know. I'm trying to think about who said that joke. I don't know if it was Manny Crespin. Can't remember. I'll have to think about it.
Gosh, I always think about like whenever like the sleep apnea. I always think about the big comics, and so I had to be
Yes,
like,
yeah.
man, to think about. I was like, maybe it's like Manny Claspin versus Garrett Waller or something. Could have
Maybe
been.
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember.
But yeah, me and
But
him, we did stand up together. All yeah, Manny and I
yeah,
did, and
I've
John,
been on a show with
Garrett.
both of them before in Pueblo,
Yeah.
Pueblo West, which I actually called it Pueblo White after a while. I was like, this is not the Pueblo I'm used to.
Right. That's where I'm currently staying at is Pueblo West. It's so nice and calm, and so it's like
Yeah,
relaxing.
definitely
So
probably quiet, chill.
yeah, no gunshots
Fun.
ever. So it's
Well, nothing you can hear. You're too far away.
yeah, we just hear
they,
coyotes.
they actually just have the silencers in Pueblo West.
Yeah.
The guns are all registered. So.
Ben Affleck comes out and the Punisher and all that stuff. It's like from the movie The Accountant was so cool. Like the first and second one, I was like, oh, this is
Only a
good.
man would say that, sir. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna watch the movie. First of all, I don't want to watch a movie called The Accountant and Ben Affleck. We're over it. He
Oh,
broke up with J Lo. He's no longer relevant to me. Sorry.
oh, sorry. Yep.
It's okay. Some
Like
people
this,
can't hold on to Latinas. Okay, some people can't handle the spice.
right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, screw you, Ben Affleck. Never mind.
Ben Affleck.
Awesome, Maria. So this next portion is called "It's a Stand-Up Speakeasy. It's a secret society of stand-up comics." So with that being said, which five comics in your scene would like to be see on a future guest as on a stand-up speakeasy?
Who would I have you interview next? Is that what you're asking? Sorry, you're talking so fast I can barely hear you. Ask me one more time, same thing.
Mhm. Oh, so sad. Now I gotta worry.
Sorry, you just said
Yeah,
it so
sure.
fast.
So
I was
like
like, you want me to
the
name five comics
this is
who
the
you
stand-up
should interview next?
speakeasy is a secret society of stand-up comics, and so which yep
You
from your
froze.
scene, yeah.
Which five people
Oh,
from
from
my
your
scene should you interview next?
yep.
Oh, okay. I think you should interview Logan from last night. I
Oh,
think he
he's
has
so
a very
cool.
interesting story and a tie to Florida. like yourself.
Yep.
Let's see, who else? I think you should do probably Joe Cruz because I feel like he's really kind of blowing up right now as far as like local stuff. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's getting hired at Looney's a lot more often. I feel like he's really got some good momentum going. Um, I think Callan Reese, just because I think he's super fun. I don't know how up for interview he'd be, but he's doing a lot of other things other than comedy, like filming some commercials and stuff, which I think a lot of comedians may not think about right away when they're doing their comedy. Is that it's not all stage time and stand up. Like you can also do like comedic acting as well. I love Nina Davis. She's fucking hilarious and she's so smart. She would be really fun to interview too. Um, Gosh, everybody. Taylor Duggar, he's working hard too, writing a lot of shit. Cole Austin's writing a lot of new shit. He was on an open mic and fucking crushed the other night, so he's doing good. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of potential in the local scene here. I feel like everybody that wants it really wants it. You know what I mean? Everybody's definitely able to put aside a lot of their shit and just write, and it shows like the people who are really working at it, you can tell the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. They're like, and it's funny because you hear a lot of comics that just say like, just be cool, just be nice to everybody, and you just think that's such a silly thing to say as advice, but like, it's such a basic thing. Like, if you can't get along with your peers, you're gonna have a hard time in life, no matter what job you're doing, because it's part of hiring you. Is are you a coachable person? Are you agreeable enough to fucking work with other people? Like, yeah, it's you're by yourself on stage, but you don't really work alone. You still have to deal with other people and get along and at least be professional, be chill.
for sure. There's no cheat code. Remember that. That's
No
a good.
cheat code. Grind it out, man. It's every day the
Absolutely.
hard way. I always got that tattooed on me. And then I was like, no, I don't want that mantra. That sounds terrible. That's way too negative.
Yep. So be
I'll
funny
put
on
it on a
stage and
t-shirt.
yeah, put on a t-shirt and throw it in the washer and all that stuff and
Yeah,
uh good stuff. Yeah, so just be funny on stage and be cool off stage. That's all. That's as simple as
that's
that.
it. Yeah, yeah. And shut up. You don't have to tell everybody how they're doing. You know
Oh,
what I
it's for
mean?
real.
Keep some of that shit to yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I
That's
just
the
dealt
best
with.
advice I ever got. Shout out Graffiti Palace on Lakersham Boulevard. That's some of the best advice I ever got when I was 18, starting out tattooing. Abel, the guy that I think he owns it now, but he worked there then and he said, just shut up and listen,
Yep.
because somebody's gonna drop knowledge, and if you're just yapping and not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. But if you're quiet, and keep an ear out for some little tidbit, some little piece of knowledge, you'll be able to be like, oh, I got it. You know what I mean?
Oh, for
So
sure.
sometimes be quiet is the better way to go.
Sit down, be humble.
Yes, yes.
Shout out to Kendrick out in out California.
Yeah,
Awesome. Good stuff, dude. Thanks so much for being my guest on the show. I know that,
absolutely. Thank you
and
for having me. Appreciate
you're
it.
welcome. Looking forward to. Oh, speaking of, what are your upcoming shows?
Your show is it. That's all I got going on my calendar right now. So a week and a day from now, I'll be in Pueblo.
Heck yeah.
So yeah,
So, with that being
hanging out
said,
with
that's
y'all.
going to be July 17th at the downtown bar. You got to get a picture with a mural on the side. It's all the comedians like Richard Pryor and
Okay.
Carlin and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So cool. And then, so that's like starting at 6:25. Charlie's on the bill too. And then the next night is just music at Smitty's Greenlight Tavern. And then the next night is like at Presley's in the afternoon and at the Ethos at nighttime. And shout out to Kwan's Kitchen, Canals and Spa, and Chico. Those are the official sponsors of the thing. And so, yeah,
Thanks.
we're going to have a fun time over there. And you're going to, sometimes it's a good turnout, sometimes it's bad. But you know what? I'm putting everyone on the map with this thing. And that's all that matters to me.
I'm down. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you, Maria. Thanks for being my guest. And for everyone else, take care, see you soon, and be safe. And we'll see you at the next episode of Stand Up Speakeasy.